glens to qʷayac, Numens glens to qʷayac.
I'm Callie.
I'm Evan.
I'm Jada. I'm Jaysen.
And we're working for the Lands and Resources Department and as summer students working on a short film about coexisting with wildlife.
In 2021, 13 bears were destroyed across Nutrunif territory, including Tofino and Yuułuʔił̔atḥ, neighboring both Hitatsu and Makua. Guided by Iisaak, a greater respect with caring, we four Yuułuʔił̔atḥ summer interns interviewed our community members to further understand their relationship with wildlife across the ahuułi.
A lot of people have respect for animals because they're just an extension of us. We're all connected somehow to the environment. So much so that there's a belief that all of nature is the creator. So the wildlife is part of nature, so they're part of creation.
I'd like our community to treat wildlife with respect and to have the knowledge and to be taught about the influence that they have, because we are living among them, with them, and we play a part too. So I think it's important to know the influence that we all have on each other.
I think we've always taught, to be mindful of the animals, any animal, and just teaching our younger generation and kids, about them, being respectful of that they're here. And obviously, it seems like nowadays the bears are around just about all year round now. But I noticed this year it's been the biggest year where we've had bears here all the time now.
Before, we never really seen any wildlife this close to the reserve, unless they were passing through. But they seem so not scared anymore. They come right into our community.
I think the wildlife are getting comfortable because they're getting used to all the humans around. Everyone's stopping to take pictures. Everyone's trying to feed the bears. This isn't a zoo. This is our traditional territory. And I imagine that our neighboring nations feel very much the same frustrations when we all have to hear about 14 bears being put down. We just want, if people are going to come here, to respect our territory, respect our wildlife, so that, future generations are able to enjoy it as well.
Historically, things here in Makua were great. Then we moved away and lived our lives in cities and towns and communities. And then we moved back and things were not so great because we brought a whole bunch of behaviors back here that didn't belong here. After about, I'd say, a half a dozen bears got put down because they just would not leave our community, and it was our fault for that. We decided we have to change, so we started looking into bear aware programs. And even though it's not near as bad today, we still can do better, and I believe that in my heart. Like, when we can actually watch a bear walk through the community and not look back, that's a good day, because we know that bear doesn't have a reason to stay here.
Because they're supposed to be eating out in the wild, and the kind of food that they eat is not the kind of food we eat, so I think it's wrong to do that, to feed them. Because basically what you're doing is you gave it was a bear, you gave that bear a death sentence, so.
For the bears, it's the big problem, right? You guys all know this, living up here. You guys hear the stories about bears going in the bins, and we once in a while we see the wolves, our brothers. The cougar, we see him come in here once in a while. When I was your guys' age, we didn't have this problem because our dogs were allowed to run free back then. And the dogs, they kept all the wildlife on the outside of the community. There was never no bears in the middle or anything like that. So we have to come up and think of other ways to keep these critters out.
Bears, deer, any kind of animals like that, they don't need to be fed. They can get their own food, and they have all this forest that they need to use. And they can't rely on us for food because it makes them more comfortable with humans, which is irresponsible of us. It's unhealthy for them because it makes them, we're killing them. We're killing them, and it's not fair to them because they don't know any better. If an animal's hungry, you know, they want to eat. That's what they want to do. I think that right now we're really need to come together to spread awareness about what to do and what not to do with animals.
My opinion on feeding wildlife is just don't do it. It attracts, like if you feed deer is gonna come hang around our community a lot more. Deer attract a lot of predators like wolves, bears, cougars, and more. But yeah, just don't do it.
It would definitely, we'd have to change all our mindsets of how we think right now. With the trash bins, there's definitely a problem where people don't want to take 3 seconds of their time out of the day to put a little clip on a trash bin to save possibly lots of bears' lives. And those 3 seconds of your day pretty much could cost a bear's whole life.
We don't want to be calling in the conservation officers to kill bears here. So we implemented a lot of rules. We implemented our garbage pickup days. We implemented a recycling schedule. We implemented a hazing program. So what I'll do is I'll jump in my vehicle and I'll chase them out of the community. It's not the fix all. It's something that we do here because it's a small community, and we just want that bear to know that it's not welcome here, right? So we scare them out of the community as much as we can. It saves their life. In my mind, I think, you know, every time that bear sees my van, it turns and runs. I've saved that bear's life.
We have to know, and the animals have to know that there's a boundary that has to be kept, and I think it would just be good to like spread the word around and teach people what to do and like how to keep that boundary there.
Iisaak, respect. Be very respectful to the animals, and the animals, I think, will respect us back. We cannot have one without the other.
Having discussions like this about what that means to be respectful, I think that's probably the most important. I think as Yuułuʔił̔atḥ, it would be nice to pass on, well, here's 4 things you got to do to make sure you're showing respect to our surroundings. You know, I've never thought about it, but right away is that you take only what you need and you prepare before you use or take anything. I think if we focus on what you do to show that respect, then, you know, it's important to teach that, to know that there's an interconnectedness. You know, asking for permission and thinking 100 years down the road, how is this going to affect? How's it going to affect us? How's it going to affect our territory? And as we become more and more knowledgeable about those teachings, they get passed on. And 100 years from now, we're better off. And so is our home.
As my name says, Notch Kua, the change. is just one who sees the change. I want to see the change of where our community respects animals like how we respect our brothers and sisters and our parents and grandparents. Because we show them respect of a human being, but when we don't show those animals with the same respect, because we think they're an animal, they don't have emotion or they don't have this. They have emotions, they have homes, they have families, they have everything we do, but just different. But they feel the same way when they lose one of their family or when they lose anything for that matter. We need to find better ways to change it. And I don't know those ways right now, but I would like to think of some.
I really just think we're so lucky to live where we do. To be able to see all the different life and live where we do. It's really beautiful.
The animals are beautiful. We are very blessed to be living among them, and with the bountiful land that we have in animals and people. And there's so much beauty in it, and I think we're very lucky to live in a place like this. And I may not think about it all the time, but sometimes I look out there and I'm like, wow. So it's home. It's cool. It's nice. It's beautiful. And I'm happy to be here. I'd say it's my favorite place on earth.